A few days ago, I was in a game with a bunch of my friends over on Discord, which by the way is a place that you should definitely join. We were talking about some suggestions for Enlisted. During the process, I was actually making some unique suggestions. I was thinking about what Enlisted could do for the existing campaigns to make them unique. I then took a time off and I literally looked at all of Enlisted's history, and when I mean of all of Enlisted history, I mean of every news article that they posted on their website. It didn't occur to me that Enlisted could have added a lot of stuff that would have made Enlisted unique. Therefore, in this video, I'll be covering some of the missed opportunities to make Enlisted unique. That said, this video has been possible for friends at Discord, meaning that you should definitely join the Discord. So without further ado, let's get started with this missed opportunities for each campaign video. Our first campaign is going to be Normandy, and it has a historian. It pains me to see that Enlisted has totally disregarded the paratroopers. For one, paratroopers are an essential part of D-Day, or to be exact, before D-Day, since the paratrooper drops were a few hours before the landings. Another aspect of Enlisted is the total fact that the 101st Airborne Division, literally called the Airborne Division, is in Enlisted, and albeit parachutes were not added in during the release and launch of the game, they are still in the game as of right now. Nevertheless, it is funny to see that one of the largest airborne campaigns in military history isn't even represented at all in campaign, with barely any massive paratrooper drops behind enemy lines. Once again, a D-Day campaign with no paratroopers is basically quite lame, and I really think it's a missed opportunity for Enlisted. Next, for Normandy, we have the other factions. It shouldn't become as a surprise that the D-Day wasn't an American-only event. Almost every single Allied player played a major role. For example, the British and her Commonwealth also stormed the beaches, hence why don't we get them represented? For one, some of the weapons for the Allies like the Enfield, the Sten are British weapons, not to mention a good portion of the maps in Normandy are located where British and Commonwealth forces fought, so it's like really, like why the heck did you not do that? My question to Enlisted is, except for British troops, doesn't it just make sense that Enlisted has everything British in terms of equipment and location, but they don't have the British troops? Isn't that just weird? Obviously, Enlisted could have added the British, but also other factions like the Canadians, who are not even mentioned. The unique premium squads like French Commandos, honestly I believe Normandy had a lot of missed opportunities for other factions that they could have added, but sadly, this is what we got for Normandy. Now let's move on to Tunisia. Being Enlisted's fourth campaign, it appears that Enlisted has learned something about making the game better, or at least adding more factions. For one, we have the Italians and the British, and sadly this is where the problems begin. Being Enlisted's fourth campaign, Enlisted should have realized that people are tired of playing the exact same factions. Although I have no issues with both sides, especially early game, because like they have the Breda M1, the Sten, the Lancaster, all of them are pretty good weapons and pretty solid weapons. The bolt action rifles are pretty to their country's liking, so I don't really have an issue with those. It pains me to see that Enlisted has just given filter weapons for the late game. For example, I have no issue with adding in the Stuka, but a Pacific Dauntless could definitely be replaced by another plane. The late game bombers such as the BF-110 and can be replaced with the Breda 88, which is actually a premium squad for I don't know what reason. It should have been in the base game. And Mosquito, like once again, it should have been in the base game instead of a premium squad, but they refused to put them in the progression tree. Some things for Italian semi-automatic rifles, they have them in the game files but refuse to put them in the game, and when they do put them in the game, like the Breda 1918-30, they put them as a premium gold weapon, which is kind of interesting. Other support weapons could be given Italian equipment such as Italian motorcycles, which actually were at Tunisia, grenade launchers, which once again I don't know if there were any grenade launchers en masse at Tunisia, but I do have to say that I don't think grenade launchers were en masse for the Germans or for the British on Tunisia, so grenade launchers by itself were actually historically inaccurate, at least en masse. Next we have flamethrowers, which the Italians did have, and even some LMGs, which, let's be honest, the Italians definitely did have their own LMGs at Tunisia. Next, other maps, and although they are fantastic with bright scenery and stuff, which is, in my best opinion, is one of the best maps for scenery Enlisted, I honestly believe that there's a lot of things lacking. For one, most of the North Africa campaign battles were fought on dry sand, albeit the most important engagements were fought over small urban settlements. Once again, it doesn't feel like you're in the middle of a desert, albeit some of the location that you're fighting over do seem like a desert from the outskirts, but really, it should give us more of a feel of a desert. From some places on Tunisia, it really feels like another Berlin or less destroyed Stalingrad. But that said, besides the map issues, which let's be honest, I really don't have that big of an issue, the weapon issue is probably the biggest things that I want, and also not to mention the historical inaccuracy for some military uniforms. That's like really big. Once again, like Normandy, Tunisia has a lot of issues. As a matter of fact, I would say even more because you've added in another faction, but you didn't really add them correctly. That said, let's move on to Stalingrad. And for one, Stalingrad is straight outright boring. Unlocks are pretty much the same, and the ones that aren't unlocked, like the Romanian fighters and Romanian bombers, are either behind a premium wall or they're straight outright not even in the game until the very end of the until the campaign. You have Enlisted could have added so much more, like Axis forces such as Romania, Bulgaria, Hungary, just to name a few. As a matter of fact, they even have a Hungarian Karli 39M in the game, so I don't understand why they don't add in Hungarian or Bulgarian or Romanian troops. So, once again, this is a big issue. These factions were not only present at Stalingrad, but played a major role at Stalingrad. Once again, it just pains me to see another missed opportunity. With Romania and Bulgaria, we could have gotten new weapons such as the Ortita, but like seriously, it's just a missed campaign. Like I said in my Stalingrad failure video, the maps are too big and too clean. For a city that has more bombs dropped in it on a single day than on the entire Blitz alone, I'm surprised that Stalingrad is so clean. Heck, even Call of Duty Vanguard did slightly better with the destruction. Enlisted could have just added also night battles, considering the fact that at Stalingrad there were a lot of night battles, and to be honest, Stalingrad is really lacking. I know they've added in customization, but honestly, customization could have been added in for every campaign, all campaigns. So I don't understand why Stalingrad is like made special. Besides the customization, all of the weapons are filler weapons. Like even the late game weapons aren't even fun. The only two things that I've seen them added is basically 2 Romanian planes, 1 bomber, 1 fighter, and that's it. Like seriously, that's it. Enlisted didn't even go underground, considering the fact that most of Stalingrad's battles were in the sewers, so they didn't even do justice to the maps. And finally, Enlisted didn't go up. Once again, this with the maps, Stalingrad was mostly about building, fighting, and once again, they didn't do justice to the maps at all. That's it, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the Discord. What other suggestions do you have? Like, what other things do you want to be added in the base campaigns? Comment them in the video down below, and that said, I'll see you in the next one. Now, before you leave, I would like to thank you very much for watching this video. I would be honored if you could like and subscribe to the channel. Remember, more videos are coming out, so it is a good idea to click on that notification button. Anyways, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.